The Council's big problem. In a galaxy far beyond the reach of most known star maps, the Galactic Council was in turmoil. The Council, a powerful assembly of representatives from the most advanced and influential races, was responsible for maintaining peace and order throughout the galaxy. This council had faced numerous challenges in the past, but nothing compared to the crisis they now confronted. The emergency alarms blared through the grand hall where the council convened. A massive holographic map of the galaxy flickered in the center of the room. The council members, a diverse group of beings with various shapes, sizes, and colors, were visibly anxious. They had never seen the map display so many red alerts simultaneously. "This is worse than we feared," said Zorak, the council's chief strategist. His tentacles twitched nervously as he pointed at the map. "The instability is spreading faster than we can manage. The entire galaxy is on the brink of collapse." A tall, elegant figure from the Illyrian race, Councillor Lyria, leaned forward. Her eyes, which were usually calm and composed, were now wide with worry. "We have multiple star systems experiencing catastrophic failures. Civilizations are falling apart. Planets are being ravaged by natural disasters and civil unrest." The room fell silent as the members processed the gravity of the situation. The Galactic Council had always prided itself on its ability to handle any crisis, but this was different. The instability seemed to be a chain reaction, each failure triggering more problems across the galaxy. "Have we determined the cause?" asked Orak, a grizzled veteran from the Raxan race. His voice was rough but authoritative. "Is this some kind of coordinated attack?" "That's what we're trying to figure out," said Zorak. "But it doesn't look like an attack. There are no signs of weaponry or sabotage. It's as if the galaxy itself is coming apart." The council members exchanged worried glances. If it wasn't an attack, then what was it? And why was it happening now? The council's historian, a wise and ancient being named Finar, spoke up. "We've seen phenomena like this before in ancient texts. A galactic disturbance of this scale is rare but not unheard of. It often precedes a period of great upheaval." "Are we talking about a cosmic event?" Lyria asked, her voice trembling slightly. "Something on a galactic scale." Finar nodded. "Possibly. But we don't have concrete information. We need to act quickly. If this continues, the entire galaxy could be lost." The urgency in Finar's voice was palpable. The council had to do something, and they had to do it fast. But what could they do? Their usual methods of diplomacy and peacekeeping seemed inadequate in the face of such an overwhelming crisis. Zorak stood up and walked to a large console at the side of the room. "We need to call for help. If we're going to address this crisis, we need to involve other civilizations. We need support from those who have the capability to handle such a large-scale emergency." The council members nodded in agreement. The next step was clear. They needed to reach out to the galaxy's most advanced and capable races, seeking their assistance in managing the crisis. But who would answer the call? Zorak tapped a few commands into the console, and a message was broadcast across the galaxy. The message was a desperate plea for help, highlighting the gravity of the situation and the need for immediate assistance. It was a call for anyone with the capability and willingness to help restore order and stability. As the message was sent, the council members watched in anxious anticipation. They knew that their reputation and the future of the galaxy rested on the response to this call. The council had to hope that someone, anyone, would answer the plea. Meanwhile, across the galaxy, the message reached various civilizations. Some of them were powerful and advanced, while others were less so. Each received the message with a mixture of curiosity and concern. They had heard of the Galactic Council's reputation, and many wondered what could be so dire as to require their intervention. Days passed, and responses began to trickle in. Most were hesitant, offering limited aid or requesting more information before committing. The situation was growing more desperate by the hour, and the council's hope began to dwindle. Then, just as the council was about to lose hope, a new message arrived. It was from an unexpected source: the humans. Their message was blunt and straightforward, offering their assistance in addressing the crisis. It was clear that the humans were not interested in negotiation or detailed discussions. They simply stated that they were ready to help and would arrive shortly. The council members were taken aback. The humans were known for their tough, no-nonsense approach. They were often seen as mercenaries or cold-hearted, focusing on results rather than diplomacy. But now, with the crisis escalating, the council had little choice but to accept their help. As the council prepared for the arrival of the human fleet, they couldn't help but wonder what kind of assistance they would receive. The humans had a reputation for being effective but ruthless. What impact would their involvement have on the crisis and on the council's own standing? Little did they know, the arrival of the humans would bring more than just practical solutions. It would challenge the council's perceptions and force them to confront their own assumptions about what it meant to be a hero in a galaxy on the brink of disaster. With the fate of the galaxy hanging in the balance, the council awaited the arrival of their unexpected saviors, hoping against hope that the heartless humans could indeed turn the tide of their most dire crisis yet. Humans arrive. The Galactic Council Hall was filled with a mix of tension and hope as they awaited the arrival of their unexpected helpers. The vast room, with its shimmering walls and high ceiling, felt unusually quiet. Council members exchanged glances, their faces a mixture of skepticism and anticipation. They had reluctantly accepted the humans' offer, but they had no idea what to expect. Suddenly, the room's lighting dimmed, and a holographic display flickered to life. The projection showed the view of space just outside the council's headquarters. An enormous spaceship, sleek and imposing, appeared in the view. It was the human vessel, and its design was unlike anything the council had seen before. The ship's surface gleamed under the starlight, and its powerful engines emitted a low, steady hum. As the ship drew closer, a sense of unease rippled through the council chamber. They had heard of the humans' efficiency, but had never seen it firsthand. The arrival of their ship marked the beginning of a new chapter in their desperate quest for a solution to the galaxy's crisis. The doors to the hall opened with a soft hiss, and a group of humans entered. They were clad in dark, practical uniforms, and their faces were set in serious expressions. The humans did not waste time with formalities. They walked straight to the center of the room, their leader stepping forward to address the council. The human leader, Commander Alex Carter, was a tall figure with a commanding presence. His face was stern, and his eyes were sharp and focused. He took a moment to survey the room, his gaze briefly meeting each of the council members before he began speaking. "Greetings," Commander Carter said, his voice steady and clear. "We are here to assist with the crisis. We understand the situation is critical. Please provide us with the details and any immediate instructions." The council members were taken aback by the directness of Carter's approach. There was no preamble or pleasantries, just a straightforward offer of help. Some of the council members, including Councilor Lyria, couldn't help but feel uneasy. The humans had a reputation for being efficient, but their lack of ceremony was unsettling. "Thank you for responding to our call," Zorak, the chief strategist, said cautiously. "The situation is severe. We're facing widespread instability across the galaxy. Planets are suffering from natural disasters, civil unrest, and system failures. We've been unable to pinpoint the exact cause, but it seems to be spreading rapidly." Commander Carter nodded, taking in the information. "We'll need access to all relevant data and maps. Our team will start assessing the situation immediately. If there's anything specific you need us to focus on, let us know." Zorak and the other council members exchanged looks. It was clear that the humans were not interested in small talk or diplomacy. They were here to get the job done, and that was both reassuring and intimidating. "We'll provide you with the data," Zorak said, gesturing to a nearby console. "It includes real-time updates and details about the affected systems. You'll find that the situation is evolving quickly, so we need your team to act fast." Commander Carter stepped forward and began reviewing the data on the console. His team, A group of skilled technicians and strategists spread out to examine the information and begin their analysis. The council members watched in silence, their initial apprehension slowly being replaced by a growing curiosity about how the humans would handle the crisis. Hours passed as the human team worked diligently. Their efficiency was impressive. They moved with a purpose and quickly began implementing their plan. The humans set up a temporary command center within the council's headquarters, using their advanced technology to integrate with the council's systems. The humans' approach was methodical and precise. They focused on gathering as much information as possible and began formulating strategies to address the various issues plaguing the galaxy. Their leader, Commander Carter, remained at the helm, coordinating the efforts and ensuring that everything was running smoothly. As the human team worked, the council members started to notice a shift in their perspective. The humans were not just a group of cold-hearted mercenaries. They were highly skilled professionals who were determined to make a difference. Their focused approach and dedication were starting to win over some of the council members who had initially been skeptical. "This is impressive," Councillor Lyria remarked quietly to Zorak. "I didn't expect them to be so organized. They're making real progress." Zorak nodded in agreement. "Yes, their methods may be different from ours, but they seem to be effective. Let's hope they can make the difference we need." As the day wore on, the human team began to show signs of progress. They identified several key factors contributing to the crisis and started implementing solutions. The council watched in a mix of hope and nervousness as the humans' plan took shape. The humans' arrival had brought a new sense of urgency and hope to the council's headquarters. The direct, no-nonsense approach of Commander Carter and his team was a stark contrast to the council's usual methods, but it was clear that this was what was needed. The humans were here to tackle the crisis head-on, and their presence was a reminder that sometimes unconventional methods could lead to extraordinary results. As the human team continued their work, the council members could only wait and see how the situation would unfold. The fate of the galaxy was now in the hands of their unexpected allies, and their initial doubts were slowly being replaced by a cautious optimism. The arrival of the humans marked the beginning of a new chapter in their struggle to restore balance to a galaxy on the brink of collapse. The human plan. The tension in the Galactic Council's headquarters was palpable as the human team finalized their plans. Commander Alex Carter and his team had been working tirelessly, analyzing data and formulating strategies to address the galaxy-wide crisis. The council members, who had initially viewed the humans with skepticism, were now eagerly waiting to hear their plan. In a large conference room, the humans gathered around a holographic display that projected a detailed map of the galaxy. The room was filled with the low hum of technology and the murmur of council members discussing their observations. Commander Carter stood at the front, ready to present the human plan. "Thank you all for your patience," Carter began, his voice steady and commanding. "We've analyzed the data and have come up with a plan to tackle the crisis." He gestured to the holographic map, which highlighted several key areas affected by the crisis. Red markers indicated the most critical regions, where the instability was at its peak. The council members leaned in, their curiosity piqued. "Our analysis shows that the instability is not random," Carter continued. "It appears to be a cascading effect, triggered by a series of events that started in one region and spread to others. Our goal is to identify and address the root causes of these disturbances." Councillor Lyria, who had been skeptical of the humans' methods, raised a question. "What exactly do you propose we do? The crisis is so widespread. How can we address it effectively?" Carter nodded, acknowledging the concern. "We need to take a multi-pronged approach. First, we'll focus on stabilizing the most affected areas. Our team will deploy specialized units to these regions to provide immediate relief and assess the situation on the ground." He pointed to several red markers on the map. "These areas are critical. We'll send teams to restore basic infrastructure, provide emergency aid, and work with local leaders to manage the immediate fallout." The council members exchanged glances. The idea of sending teams to various regions made sense, but there was still concern about the scale of the operation. Counselor Orcs, known for his tactical experience, spoke up. What about the underlying cause of the instability? If we only address the symptoms, the problem might recur. Carter's expression remained focused. You're right. While our immediate response will stabilize the affected areas, we also need to investigate the root cause. We suspect that there might be a central point from which the disturbances originated. He pulled up a different section of the map, which showed a region with a complex network of anomalies. Our team will send reconnaissance missions to this area. We believe it might be the source of the disturbances. We'll deploy specialized sensors and gather more data to pinpoint the cause. Counselor Lyria nodded thoughtfully. That sounds promising. But what if the cause is something we haven't encountered before? Carter's gaze was steady. We'll adapt as needed. We have a wide range of expertise on our team, including scientists and engineers who are skilled in dealing with unknown phenomena. We'll also collaborate with your experts to ensure that we have the best possible understanding of the situation. The council members seemed reassured by Carter's confidence and the comprehensive nature of the plan. It was clear that the humans were not just offering temporary relief, but were committed to solving the crisis in a thorough and strategic manner. Very well, Zorak said, taking a deep breath. We'll provide you with any additional resources you need. We've also reached out to other civilizations who may be able to offer support. Carter nodded appreciatively. Thank you. The more support we can get, the better. Our plan involves coordination with multiple parties, including your teams and any additional assistance that arrives. As the meeting continued, the human team began to mobilize their resources. Their engineers and technicians worked swiftly to prepare for the deployment of relief teams. Meanwhile, Commander Carter's strategic unit focused on the reconnaissance missions to investigate the source of the instability. The council members watched with growing admiration as the humans demonstrated their efficiency. The rapid pace at which they organized and implemented their plan was impressive. It was clear that their no-nonsense approach was proving to be effective. Hours turned into days as the human teams deployed to the most affected regions. Their presence brought immediate relief to struggling planets, and their actions began to stabilize the most critical areas. The Council received regular updates on the progress, and it became evident that the humans' plan was making a significant impact. In the meantime, the reconnaissance missions revealed troubling information. The specialized sensors detected unusual energy readings and strange patterns in the region identified as the potential source of the disturbances. The human scientists worked diligently to analyze the data and develop theories about the cause. Commander Carter remained in constant communication with the Council, providing updates and coordinating efforts. The collaboration between the humans and the Galactic Council grew stronger as they worked together to address the crisis. As the days passed, the Council members found themselves increasingly impressed with the human approach. The initial skepticism was being replaced by a growing respect for their capabilities and dedication. The humans had proven themselves to be more than just efficient. They were a vital asset in the fight to restore stability to the galaxy. The human plan was unfolding as hoped, and the crisis was gradually coming under control. The immediate relief efforts had brought some stability, while the ongoing investigations aimed to uncover the root cause of the disturbances. With each passing day, the Council's confidence in their human allies grew. It was becoming clear that the Heartless reputation of the humans was not a true reflection of their capabilities. Instead, their straightforward approach and commitment to solving the crisis were making a real difference. The Galactic Council, once uncertain about the humans, was now hopeful that together they could overcome the greatest challenge the galaxy had faced in a long time. The crisis gets worse. The Galactic Council's headquarters was a hive of activity as the human teams continued their efforts to address the galaxy-wide crisis. The initial signs of success had brought a glimmer of hope, but that hope was short-lived. The situation began to deteriorate rapidly, and the crisis seemed to escalate in ways no one had anticipated. In the council chamber, Zorak, and Commander Alex Carter stood before a large holographic display. The map of the galaxy, once filled with red alerts, now showed even more areas flashing in alarming shades of crimson. The data streaming in from the field was grim. "We've just received new reports," Zorak said, his voice filled with concern. "The stability we managed to restore in several regions is collapsing. It's as if the crisis is spreading faster than we can address it." Carter studied the map, his face set in a serious expression. "This isn't just a random spread. There must be something driving this instability, something that's causing these regions to fail despite our efforts." Counselor Lyria joined them, her eyes wide with worry. "What do we do now? We can't afford to lose ground. The crisis is threatening entire civilizations." Carter nodded, his mind already working on a solution. "We need to reassess our approach. If the situation is worsening, it's possible that the root cause is more complex than we thought. We need to intensify our investigation and ensure that our relief efforts are targeting the right areas." The council members and human team quickly regrouped. The immediate priority was to address the worsening situation on the ground. Teams were dispatched to the most affected regions to provide additional support and assess the new developments. As the human relief teams worked tirelessly, they encountered mounting challenges. The areas they had previously stabilized were now experiencing even more severe issues. Natural disasters, civil unrest, and system failures were hitting with increased intensity. In one of the affected regions, human engineers were attempting to repair a failing power grid when an unexpected explosion rocked their worksite. The team scrambled to safety, their communication devices crackling with distress signals. The explosion had been caused by an unknown force, adding to the growing list of problems. Back at the council headquarters, the situation was becoming increasingly dire. The council members and human team convened for an emergency meeting to discuss the latest developments. The atmosphere was tense, and the stakes were higher than ever. "We've encountered several incidents where our relief efforts have been met with violent resistance," Carter reported. "It's as if there are forces actively working against us. We need to understand what's causing these disruptions and neutralize the threat." Zorak nodded, his brow furrowed. "It seems like we're dealing with more than just a galactic disturbance. There might be an external force or an organized group contributing to the instability." Counselor Orak, who had been silent until now, spoke up. "We've received intelligence about a shadowy faction that might be behind the crisis. They're known for disrupting galactic operations and causing chaos for their own gain." The council members exchanged worried glances. If there was indeed a faction working to undermine their efforts, it would explain the sudden escalation of the crisis. The situation was more complex than they had initially thought. "We need to investigate this faction," Carter said firmly. "If they're behind the disturbances, we need to find them and stop their activities. It's the only way to regain control." The council agreed with Carter's assessment. They would need to combine their resources with the human team's expertise to uncover the truth behind the escalating crisis. The investigation was crucial to understanding the full scope of the threat and finding a solution. As the investigation got underway, the human team and council members worked together to gather intelligence and track down leads. They discovered that the shadowy faction was known for its expertise in manipulating galactic systems and causing widespread disruptions. Their motives remained unclear, but it was evident that they were a significant threat. The pressure on the council and human team increased as the crisis continued to spiral out of control. The affected regions were becoming increasingly chaotic, with reports of planetary systems failing, mass evacuations, and rising tensions among various civilizations. Despite the mounting challenges, Commander Carter and his team remained focused. They knew that time was of the essence and that finding and neutralizing the faction was critical to restoring stability. The Council's communication channels were flooded with urgent reports and requests for assistance. The situation was deteriorating faster than anyone had anticipated, and the strain was beginning to show on both the Council members and the human team. In the midst of the chaos, a glimmer of hope emerged. The human team's reconnaissance missions uncovered a crucial piece of information that could lead to the heart of the crisis. They identified a pattern in the disturbances that pointed to a central source, a location where the faction's activities were concentrated. The revelation brought a renewed sense of urgency. The Council and human team prepared for a decisive operation to confront the faction and put an end to their destructive efforts. The coming days would be critical in determining the fate of the galaxy. As they moved forward with their plan, the Council members and human team knew that they were facing one of the greatest challenges of their lives. The crisis had become a full-blown emergency, but their determination to restore order and protect the galaxy remained unwavering. The battle against the shadowy faction was about to begin, and the outcome would shape the future of the galaxy. With the stakes higher than ever, the Council and human team were ready to confront the forces working to unravel the fabric of their galaxy. Turning things around, the crisis was at its peak. The galaxy was engulfed in chaos, and every effort seemed to be met with new challenges. The shadowy faction causing the instability had proven to be more formidable than anyone had anticipated. But hope was not lost. Commander Alex Carter and his human team, alongside the Galactic Council, were determined to turn the tide. In the heart of the Council headquarters, a new strategy was being developed. The walls of the strategy room were lined with holographic displays, showing real-time updates from the most affected regions. The mood was tense, but there was a renewed sense of determination among the Council members and their human allies. Commander Carter, Councillor Zorak, and several key members of the Council were huddled around a central table, going over the latest intelligence reports. The discovery of the faction's central base had given them a crucial lead, but they needed a detailed plan to move forward. "We've identified the location of their operations," Carter said, pointing to a glowing red spot on the map. "It's an isolated space station, heavily fortified. We need to neutralize this base to stop the disruptions." Councillor Lyria looked at the map with concern. "The base is well defended. It won't be easy to penetrate. Do we have the capability to launch an assault?" Carter nodded, his expression resolute. "We do. Our forces are prepared for an operation of this scale, but we need to ensure that the attack is precise and minimizes collateral damage. We can't afford to worsen the situation." Zorak agreed. "We'll coordinate with your team and provide any additional support you need. Our intelligence has also uncovered some vulnerabilities in the base's defenses. If we can exploit these weaknesses, our chances of success improve." With a plan in place, the human team and Council members began preparations for the assault on the space station. Their goal was to dismantle the faction's operations and regain control over the affected regions. The operation was set to be launched within hours. As the teams mobilized, the atmosphere was charged with a mix of anxiety and anticipation. The Council members and human soldiers worked side by side, preparing their equipment and finalizing their strategies. It was clear that this mission was critical to turning things around. The operation commenced under the cover of darkness, with human and Council forces approaching the space station in stealth. Their ships moved silently through the void, avoiding detection as they neared their target. Commander Carter's team was the first to make contact. They infiltrated the space station's outer defenses using advanced technology to bypass security systems. The infiltration was swift and precise, and they soon reached the core of the station where the faction's main operations were centered. Inside the station, chaos erupted as the human team launched their assault. The shadowy faction's forces were caught off guard by the sudden attack. Commander Carter's team fought their way through the station, targeting key facilities and disrupting the faction's operations. Meanwhile, the Council's forces worked to secure the perimeter and prevent any reinforcements from reaching the base. The battle was intense, but the human team's efficiency and tactical prowess were evident. They moved with purpose, each member playing a crucial role in the operation. As the fight continued, the human team discovered a critical piece of information. The faction had been using a powerful signal to amplify the disturbances across the galaxy. Destroying this signal would help to stabilize the affected regions and bring an end to the chaos. Commander Carter made the decision to focus on this objective. With the signal's location identified, the team launched a coordinated effort to neutralize it. Explosives were set, and the signal's core was targeted. The operation was high risk, but it was crucial to the success of their mission. With the signal destroyed, the tide of the battle began to turn. The disturbances across the galaxy started to subside, and the immediate chaos began to recede. The human team continued their assault, dismantling the faction's remaining operations and capturing key personnel. As the dust settled, the space station was left in ruins. The faction's base had been successfully neutralized, and their operations had been dismantled. The galaxy began to see signs of recovery, and the council members breathed a sigh of relief. Back at the council headquarters, the mood was one of cautious optimism. The immediate crisis had been addressed, but there was still much work to be done to fully restore stability. The council members and human team gathered once more to assess the situation and plan the next steps. "We've made significant progress," Councillor Zorak said, his voice filled with relief. "The immediate threats have been neutralized, and the disturbances are beginning to fade." Carter nodded, his expression serious. "We've achieved a major victory, but we need to continue our efforts to ensure that the situation remains stable. We'll work with your teams to monitor the affected regions and provide ongoing support." Councillor Lyria, who had been initially skeptical of the humans, expressed her gratitude. "Your team's efficiency and expertise have been invaluable. We couldn't have done this without you." Carter offered a small smile. "We're glad to have been able to help. The crisis is far from over, but we'll stand by your side as we work to rebuild and recover." As the council and human team prepared for the next phase of their efforts, there was a renewed sense of hope. The crisis had tested their resolve, but their combined efforts had proven effective. The galaxy was beginning to turn around, and with continued collaboration, they were determined to restore peace and stability. The road ahead would be challenging, but the success of the operation had shown that even in the darkest times, hope and determination could make a difference. Together, the Council and their human allies were ready to face whatever lay ahead, united in their commitment to healing the galaxy and ensuring a brighter future. Solving the crisis. The galaxy was beginning to recover from the turmoil that had gripped it for so long. The successful neutralization of the shadowy faction's base had brought a wave of relief, but the work was far from over. Commander Alex Carter and his team, alongside the Galactic Council, now faced the monumental task of stabilizing the affected regions and solving the underlying crisis. At the Council headquarters, the mood was a mix of cautious optimism and determination. The Council members and human team gathered in the strategy room, where the holographic map of the galaxy once again took center stage. The red markers indicating crisis zones had begun to shift to yellow, a sign that the immediate danger was easing. "Now that the main threat has been neutralized, we need to focus on long-term stability," Commander Carter said, addressing the room. "Our goal is to restore normalcy to the affected regions and ensure that such a crisis doesn't happen again." Councillor Zorak nodded in agreement. "We've seen significant improvements, but there are still areas in critical condition. We need a detailed plan to address the remaining issues and support the recovery efforts." The human team had been working around the clock to assess the damage and devise solutions. They had set up temporary headquarters in several of the most affected regions to coordinate their efforts and provide on-the-ground support. The focus was now on rebuilding infrastructure, restoring essential services, and assisting the local populations. One of the first priorities was to repair the damaged power grids and communication networks. Human engineers and technicians worked tirelessly, using advanced technology and resources to get systems back online. The Council also deployed additional support teams to aid in the recovery efforts. In a devastated city on one of the affected planets, a human team worked alongside local engineers to repair a crucial power plant. The plant had been severely damaged during the crisis, and restoring power was essential for the city's recovery. As the team worked, Commander Carter visited the site to oversee the operation. He spoke with the local leaders and residents, offering reassurance and support. "We're doing everything we can to get things back to normal. It will take time, but we're here to help every step of the way." The local leaders expressed their gratitude for the assistance. "Your team's efforts have been incredible. We couldn't have made this progress without your support." With the immediate repairs underway, the focus shifted to addressing the root causes of the crisis. The investigation into the shadowy faction had revealed that their disruptions had been part of a larger scheme to exploit weaknesses in the galaxy's infrastructure. The faction had used advanced technology to amplify the instability and cause widespread chaos. Human scientists and council experts worked together to analyze the technology used by the faction. They discovered that the technology had been designed to exploit vulnerabilities in the galactic communication networks and energy systems. "To prevent future crises, we need to upgrade our systems and strengthen our defenses," Carter said during a briefing. "We've identified several key areas where improvements are necessary. We'll work with your experts to implement these changes and ensure that our infrastructure is resilient." Councillor Lyria, who had previously been skeptical of the humans, now showed a deep appreciation for their expertise. "Your analysis has been invaluable. We'll coordinate with our teams to begin the upgrades immediately." The collaborative efforts between the human team and the Galactic Council paid off. New security protocols were established, and upgrades to the communication and energy systems were implemented. These changes aimed to prevent any future exploitation and ensure that the galaxy's infrastructure was robust and secure. In addition to the technical improvements, the Council and human team also focused on supporting the affected populations. Human medics and relief workers provided medical aid and psychological support to those who had been impacted by the crisis. Temporary shelters were set up, and food and water supplies were distributed. As the recovery efforts continued, the Council and human team worked to rebuild trust and strengthen relationships between different civilizations. They held meetings and forums to address concerns and promote cooperation. The crisis had shown the importance of unity and collaboration in facing challenges. The progress was gradual but noticeable. Cities and planets that had once been on the brink of collapse began to show signs of recovery. The once crippled power grids were back online, and communication networks were functioning smoothly. The immediate threats had been neutralized, and the galaxy was on the path to stability. Commander Carter and the Council members took a moment to reflect on their achievements. The crisis had tested their resolve, but their combined efforts had made a significant difference. The galaxy was healing, and the collaborative approach had proven to be effective. "We've come a long way since the crisis began," Carter said during a meeting with the Council. "It's been a challenging journey, but we've shown that working together can overcome even the greatest obstacles." Councillor Zorik agreed. "The crisis has strengthened our bonds and demonstrated the power of cooperation. We're not just recovering, we're building a stronger, more resilient galaxy." The work was far from over, but the progress made was a testament to the resilience and determination of the human team and the Galactic Council. The crisis had revealed the vulnerabilities in their systems, but it had also highlighted their capacity to come together and find solutions. As the galaxy continued to recover, the lessons learned from the crisis would serve as a foundation for future collaboration and preparedness. The unity forged in the face of adversity had set a precedent for how challenges would be tackled moving forward. The galaxy was on the mend, and with continued effort and cooperation, it would emerge stronger and more united than ever before. The crisis had been a profound test, but it had also shown that hope, determination, and teamwork could overcome even the darkest times. New beginnings. The galaxy was slowly but surely emerging from the shadows of the recent crisis. The damage had been substantial, but the combined efforts of the human team and the Galactic Council had begun to show real, tangible results. Cities that were once devastated were now bustling with activity, and the atmosphere of despair was giving way to hope and renewal. At the Council headquarters, the mood was one of cautious optimism. The recovery efforts had made significant progress, and the focus was now shifting towards rebuilding and creating a stronger, more resilient galaxy. The strategy room, once filled with urgency and tension, now hummed with a more relaxed, purposeful energy. Commander Alex Carter, Counselor Zorek, and other key members of the Council gathered to discuss the next steps. Their faces, marked by fatigue from the recent efforts, now showed a sense of accomplishment and hope for the future. "We've achieved a lot," Carter began, looking around at the assembled members. "The immediate threats have been neutralized, and the affected regions are on the road to recovery. But now we need to focus on new beginnings and ensuring that we're better prepared for the future." Counselor Lyria nodded in agreement. "The crisis taught us valuable lessons. We need to apply these lessons to strengthen our systems and build a more united galaxy. Our focus should be on collaboration, innovation, and resilience." One of the first initiatives was to establish a new cooperative framework for the galaxy. The Council and the human team worked together to create a set of guidelines and agreements designed to promote unity and prevent future crises. This framework aimed to enhance communication between different civilizations, share resources, and foster collaborative projects. The Galactic Council held a special assembly to introduce the new framework. Representatives from various civilizations attended, eager to learn about the changes and contribute to the new direction. The assembly was a symbol of unity and a fresh start for the galaxy. As the assembly began, Counselor Zorek took the stage to address the gathered representatives. "Today marks a new chapter for our galaxy. We've faced significant challenges, but we've also shown that by working together, we can overcome them. The new cooperative framework will guide us towards a future of collaboration and mutual support." The representatives listened attentively as the details of the framework were presented. It included measures for improved communication, joint research initiatives, and emergency response protocols. The goal was to create a more interconnected and resilient galaxy. In addition to the framework, the Council and human team launched several joint projects aimed at rebuilding and advancing technology. These projects included upgrades to infrastructure, advancements in energy systems, and new research into technologies that could prevent future disruptions. One of the key projects was the development of a new galactic communication network. This network was designed to be more secure and resilient, capable of withstanding potential threats and ensuring seamless communication across vast distances. The project involved experts from both the human team and various Council civilizations working together to create a state-of-the-art system. In the affected regions, rebuilding efforts continued with a focus on restoring normalcy and improving quality of life. Human engineers and Council workers collaborated on various infrastructure projects, including the reconstruction of power grids, transportation systems, and public facilities. The efforts were met with gratitude from local populations, who appreciated the support and assistance. Commander Carter and his team also spent time engaging with the communities they had helped. They visited schools, community centers, and local leaders to understand their needs and offer support. Their presence was a reminder that the galaxy's recovery was a shared effort, and that the bonds formed during the crisis were enduring. In a community center on one of the recovering planets, Carter spoke with a group of children who had been affected by the crisis. "We're here to make sure that you have a bright future. The work we're doing is for everyone, and we're committed to helping you rebuild and grow." The children looked up at him with hope and curiosity. "What will the future be like?" one of them asked. Carter smiled. "The future will be full of opportunities. We've faced challenges, but we've also learned a lot. We're working together to create a better galaxy, one where we support each other and build a stronger, more connected community." The children nodded, their faces reflecting the optimism that was beginning to spread throughout the galaxy. The recovery efforts had not only restored infrastructure, but also rekindled hope and enthusiasm for the future. As the days went by, the galaxy continued to heal and grow. The new cooperative framework began to take shape, and joint projects started to bear fruit. The focus was on building a future that was not only secure, but also prosperous and collaborative. Commander Carter and Counselor Lyria, along with their teams, continued to work tirelessly to ensure that the progress made would be sustained. They held regular meetings to review the status of ongoing projects, address any emerging issues, and plan for future initiatives. The collaborative spirit that had emerged during the crisis became a defining characteristic of the galaxy's new era. The lessons learned from the recent events led to a renewed commitment to unity, innovation, and mutual support. The galaxy was on a path to a brighter future, guided by the principles of cooperation and resilience. The shadow of the crisis had faded, but the spirit of unity that had emerged was a lasting legacy. The efforts of the human team and the Galactic Council had set the stage for a new beginning, one where the galaxy's diverse civilizations could work together to create a better tomorrow. As the sun set on a recovering planet, the sky was filled with the light of new possibilities. The challenges had been met, and the path forward was illuminated by the collective determination and hope of a united galaxy. The story of overcoming adversity had become a story of new beginnings, and the future was full of promise.